Hello YouTube, Captain Mac here, and welcome back to another stuffy episode in the life of a virtual airline pilot. I'm sure you can tell that I'm still quite stuffed up here. I am slightly, no, let's be serious, I'm extremely under the weather. I should probably be in bed or maybe even quarantined, but I was thinking of you folks. And we need to put another video out here because next week I'm going to be out of town all week and I will not get a chance to make any videos, and therefore I must have a video that I can post for you. See how much I care. So here we are working on it. That being said, last flight, that was fantastic. I loved it. It was our first full flight here in the Majestic -8 Q400. Man, what an aircraft. The only disappointment for me was that landing at KACV. Short runway opportunity, great chance to stick it and bring it up short and just make it look good, and I couldn't get the reverse thrust to work, and the stupid thing wouldn't stop before running off the end of the runway. Now, we only overran the runway by maybe a few feet, 10 or 12 feet, but in the real world, that 10 or 12 feet could be enough to cause some serious damage to the aircraft, and I just wasn't pleased with it. But it is what it is. Let's move on. So, next flight, forgive the sniffles. I'll try not to snort snot in your face the whole time here, but I can't make any promises. There might be some extra pauses and edits for flu and cold-like symptoms to be dealt with, but beyond that, we're going to press on forward as we always do. So, from our current location, KACV, down to KLAX in the -8, and then you can see from LA to Prescott, that's where that is, Prescott back to LA, and then LA down to MMLP, which is La Paz, Mexico. Why am I talking about all this? Very simple, because then we're supposed to go back on mission. Now, word on the street is that Aerosoft will be pushing out that CRJ on or about the 28th of January. My thoughts? Lord only knows. 28th of January, we'll see. But that being said, and with high hopes that maybe, just maybe, this time, Aerosoft won't break my heart so terribly, I just might do a few more of these -8 Q400 flights in anticipation of the arrival of that CRJ from Aerosoft, and that way we can finish our mission with a tolerable aircraft. Give me your thoughts on the matter. I am having a good time flying this airplane. I'm actually really excited to jump back in here. I love the complexity. I think it's a lot of fun. So here's our flight for today. Yep, here's our flight for today. I was talking about two things while thinking about three. Departure time is 00 and 25. Arrival is 2:30 in the morning. These are Zulu times, of course. Distance of 502 nautical miles, and probably be a little bit further in the air. We might be a little late because, I don't know, that's the way we do things around here. That's how we roll, right? So, enough talk about this. Let's wrap this up. Let's hop in, take a quick look at ACARS, and let's get started because I'm ready to roll. See you in a second. Alright, here we are looking at our ACARS, ladies and germs. You can see we've got the sim in the background behind us there. I've already taken care of the prerequisite to start and then shut down the engine because for some reason ACARS doesn't really like this airplane. So that's been taken care of. We're good to go there. Setting up the flight plan's already in there. We're not going to take the MOR 3. That's what I originally put in, but we're going to be using something else. Most likely. Good to go. 23,000 feet for the day. Start the flight. That's good, and you can see it allowed us to start it. So, for today's flight from KACV to KLAX, I have a dedication to my good friend Robert S. He works with me, and he's a Ducks fan. So there we have it, folks. Beautiful repaint done on this one, by the way. Looks much better than the CRJ repaint. I think it looks fantastic. Let's take a quick look here. So this one's for you, Robert. Don't say I never did anything for you. Robert's a friend of mine, and he's quite the Captain Mac fan. So yeah, take a nice good long look here. Now it would be really embarrassing if for some reason I forgot and got it wrong and it wasn't actually the Ducks that he really likes, but I'm pretty sure I got it right. So, and Ducks is even facing in the right direction. And yep, there you go, University of Oregon, Horizon Air. Very nicely done paint scheme here. Very, very nicely done. So there it is, sir. what do you say we hop on in the airplane and get this flight on the road? Alright, so what do you say we get this party started then? Let's see, where did we leave off at? I've got all of the captain's originating checks done, all of the first officer's originating checks done, and we are ready to start inputting our flight plan for the day. And I actually already put it in once. Hold on, let me put the flight plan over there. I already put it in once and then took it back out because I wanted to show it to you guys, because I forgot that this is part of what I'm supposed to show you guys. So here's how we do it. Start by putting in our current location, KACV. Enter again. Tells. Oh, I got the hiccups now. And we're going to KLAX. Enter and enter again, and we're good to go. If we click on menu, we can choose depart. And you can see I've already chosen a departure here, so it is going to be runway 14 because the wind is 150 at 10, so 14. And the SID is going to be HOCUT 4. We'll brief that as we taxi out. And that's it. We're going to go. So there we have it. Let's see if I put it in there. There it is right there. HOCUT. Now here's, and this was kind of obnoxious to me. And I have to actually jump on my hickey Madura over here. So I'm doing two things at once. It only puts in the HOCUT waypoint. There's actually, there's HOCUT. Let's see, what is it? R250 HOCUT. And then there's Sevely, and then Foyt, and then Fortuna. Not really sure why I didn't put them all in there. So what we're going to do is we're going to go from HOCUT just to Sevely. So if I just highlight this box right here and type it in, it's SEVLY. SEVLY, Sevely, hit enter. Enter one more time. There it is. It's in there. And it's on there. Good times. And then from Sevely to Foyt, F-O-Y-T-E. You can find the F, F-O-Y-T-E, Foyt. Excellent. And then from Foyt to Fortuna, which is a VOR, and the three-letter code is FOT, Fox Oscar Tango. There it is, Fortuna VOR 114.0. That is correct. And then from there, now let me pop the flight plan back up over here. See, I got tons of stuff open while I do this. And then from there, it is direct to AVE, which is another VOR. AVE. Enter. Avenel VOR. We're good there. And then we're going to delete this because last time I tried this with the no link there, it doesn't seem to work right. So hit delete. And now go menu and arrive. And you can see it's all in there. So, but we're going to have to redo it anyway. So we're going to arrive KLAX. Get back here. Menu. That's not working. Menu. Arrive. And we're going to be taking runway 24 right if all continues as planned. So that's number 6. The star we're taking is Chemo 3, which is number 4. So we click on number 4, hit enter. And then we're going to transition at Echo Hotel Foxtrot, which is number 1. So we click on number 1 and hit enter. We're not going to put the approach in here yet, just in case. So we can just hit enter again. And then flight plan. And we should be good to go now. So there we go. Foyt, FOT, AVE. And then there it is, transitioning at EHF, Arvin, Amont, Lopes, LHS, SOGS, Chemo. It puts in there twice for some reason, no idea why. Take it out. There it is now in there once, darts, and then from there it's manual because we haven't put in a runway yet. So we're good to go with that. I've already put in my fuel information, and that leaves us our performance information, but until we start engines, it's not really going to show us anything else in here. So, good times. All of that being said, let's leave that on flight plan. Let's hop up over here. And what we need to do now is we need to go through the checklist. Good times. Now, remember, most of these checklist items are taken care of during the captain's and first officer's originating checks. So I'm just going to read through a lot of these, and then we're going to move on because, hey, there you have it. Documentation's good. Batteries are all on and checked. The main bus is tied. APU is on. Battery temps have been checked. Voltages are good. Safety equipment is good. Now, this is something I learned recently. I didn't know this. In the Pro version, if you have the aircraft on the ground with the parking brake set and the doors open, these little tags right here will end up, those are the gear pins. and they'll put them in the gear, and then if you don't actually specifically make sure that the gear pins are in here, and then you close the doors, your gear won't go up after you take off. I don't think that's what happened to us in that last flight. I think because the doors were never open in the last flight, but maybe that's what happened. So those are all in there, and we're good on those. Landing gear lights and pins, check 3. We did that. Engine intake doors are green. That's up here, in case anybody's wondering. There we go. Let's see. Sorry, still got a bit of the sniffles going on here. Circuit breakers, we checked that they're all in. Alternate gear door is good. Fire and smoke detection has been tested. Bleed air 1 and 2 are off. APU bleeds as required. Recirc fan is on. Pressurization is set and checked. AC packs are checked. Emergency lights are armed. Fuel transfer is not necessary at the moment. Parking brake pressure has been checked. Power and condition levers are in disconnect and fuel off. Nose steering is off. FMS is set. Takeoff and departure briefing has not been completed yet. We'll do that as we taxi out because that's how we do it. And let's see, what else? Trims are set. Doors and fueling lights are out. Passenger signs are on. And that just leads us to the before start checklist, which is, I don't know what the cabin report is. I guess it says received. Okay, let's say we received the cabin report. Flight deck door is closed and locked, and APU bleed is off. We never turned it on. Batteries are good, and that's going to lead us to the start. So we're ready to push and start, ladies and germs. So what do you say we get her started here? And let's see, we're taking runway 14, so we need to go nose to the right and tail to the left. We got Alaska Airlines here, Spirit, SkyWest, American, United, like everything but Alaska, huh? Which one do we want to use? Let's go with, let's do something different. Let's go Menzies. Menzies. Okay, what do we say? Nose right, tail left. There we go. Nope, we'll start engines after pushback. The engine start procedure is very quick on this, so there's no need to worry about it right now. Let's see, ACARS is started, right? I believe it is, yeah, we did that. Yep, we're all set, everything's good to go. I have to double check things because I'm telling you, I'll go friggin' nuts here. I'll forget something, I always forget something.
Captain, we are ready for pushback.
What is this light that's on all of a sudden? Look at this, see that right there? Why is the light on?
Light slow.
Oh, I know.
Up.
You know what? The light comes on when you turn on the panel light.
Up.
Interesting. All right. Well, we're just waiting for them to lock everything down so we can pull back and get started here. Let's see. Engine start checklist. Doors. We can check that those are closed real quick. Let's flip this one to the right and hit our doors page. There we go. Doors are all green.
Departure check completed. Line has been inserted. Release parking brake. Commencing push.
Parking brake is released. Passenger loading completed, which means now ACARS is counting our time, so that's good. Battery master, main auxiliary standby are all on. And let's see. Beacon. Beacon needs to come on. I believe it goes on red right now. APU bleed air is off. We'll double check that. We would see a light if it was on. And check that engine number 2 is clear. And we're good. So that leads us to the start checklist. Again, battery master, main auxiliary standby all need to be on. And beacon lights, APU bleed, engine is clear. It basically repeats the exact same thing for engine start and engine start checklist. I find that amusing. Let's go ahead and start engine number 2. So to start the engine, go up top here, right click this guy once, hit the start button. And hopefully we won't have any issues here. Sometimes I have a hard time getting these to move when I want them to. We're looking for an indication. There it is. There it is. That's the start and feather. Just so you know, you move it to start and feather. Sometimes it'll go up further. Just bring it back to start and feather. It's not the end of the world. It doesn't cause a big disaster. Let's hop outside and see what she looks like. There it is, spinning up, looking nice. See the black mark? It's because the wheel doesn't turn, so it drags it across there. Good times. Back inside. You're not supposed to step outside of the aircraft while it's moving, people. Alright. Sounds like the engine's about done. Let's go ahead and get parked first. Or stopped.
Set parking brake.
Parking brake is set. The warning comes on for that. Not a problem. Go ahead and left click for engine number 1. Hit the start button. And same thing. As soon as we see something going on the N1 here, we'll go ahead and move this to to start and feather. There it is. Right there, start and feather, good to go. And while we let that finish starting up, let's see. Gotta move past that checklist. Pushback is done. Alright, the after start flow. We gotta wait till that finishes before we can do the after start flow.
Bypass being removed.
Good times. Alright, sounds like they're good. So, after start flow, condition levers go to maximum. 1020 APU needs to come off at this point. Turn the gen off first. Power off. We're supposed to give it about a minute to cool down and then turn off the main bus tie. That's what it says. It says it's good practice to allow that. We're not going to worry about that too much. We're going to turn the main bus tie off at this point. It's going to get a lot louder here because those engines are cranking now, and that's fantastic. So I'm going to try and remember to talk a little louder so that I don't have to keep raising the volume on the... It's this microphone. I need to get a new. I need one of those really good headsets where you can like adjust the different volumes. It's got its own little like, I don't know what you call it, amplifier on it or whatever. Anyway, ice protection as required. Now the pedostatics are going to come on. We have we've had some rain in the area. It stopped raining for now. I am concerned about icing, so we're going to keep a close eye on that. And let's see. The expected conditions, pitot heat switches on, windshield is necessary. Okay, we're good there. It's just talking about the different levels of icing protection. Rudder travel, let's check the rudder travel real quick while we're sitting here. I gotta scoot the chair forward and make a couple adjustments here. Not too big a deal. Hold on, we'll get there. Alright, rudder, if I can get my feet on the rudders. Here we go. I got these big old clod hoppers. Alright, full left, full right. We got good rudder travel. Let's make sure this is working. I think we gotta turn the steering on here, right? Please tell me we're not gonna have a problem with this. On. Oh, jeez, here we go. Here we go. Watch this. I'm gonna show you. Watch. Flight config, kilograms. Where is it at? Flight controls. This one. Ailerons and mouse. It's set. So I don't know what the problem is. I don't know why it's not. Why it's not working. Oh, it might be the control lock. I don't know. Goodness gracious, folks. Let's finish going through the procedures here, and then if it still doesn't work, I'll have to pause it and we'll get it figured out from there. So first officer, transponder TCAS as required. TCAS is ready to go. We just got to hold this button down for a couple seconds. Bam, she's on. We're good on that. Flap select for takeoff is going to be a flaps 5 takeoff. There's flaps 5. Auto feather needs to come on at this point. That's this button down here. What else? Tell me I didn't miss anything. Engine rating. We're going to use that needs to be in top 90%, so we're good there. Tank auxiliary pumps and the standby and PTU pumps all need to be on. That's all 4 of those right there. Bleed air is required. I'm skipping the hydraulic number 3 in elevator. I know, shame on me. External power APU is off. Main bus tie is off. Ice protection is checked. We're good there. Rudder travel is good. Rudder actuator test is complete. Nose steering is supposed to be on, which it is now, but for some reason it's not working. I can do it with the mouse, but I can't do it with the stinking... Come on. I had it set up to do it with my yoke, and now it won't let me do it with my yoke. Why? That's really obnoxious. Let me hop outside here for a second. Yeah, I don't understand. Man, if it isn't one problem, it's another, right? Okay, I'm going to pause for a minute. I got to figure this out, because you can't turn this thing. I can't sit here and stare at this so that I can move it and hope to actually steer somewhere. So let me figure this out. I'll be back in a couple minutes, and then we'll taxi out.
Welcome.
All right, I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little miffed here. For some reason, the yoke wasn't registering anymore. FSUIPC or FSX. It just wasn't registering. I don't have a clue why, because the thing's almost brand new, and in fact, it was actually given to me as a gift by one of you guys. So I'm really upset about that, because all of a sudden it's not working. And I tried every single USB port I have. I've been at this for about 45 minutes now. I know to you it's been a few seconds, but I've been at this for about 45 minutes. No dice. I had to put my old yoke back on here to get it to work. And then when I did that, the weirdest little thing is going on. Watch this. When I turn the yoke left and right, okay, the yoke won't turn with the control lock on, but watch the throttles. This is me turning the yoke, and the throttles are good. I have no idea what's causing that. How are they
Well,
linked
fitting
together?
into the
And is it going to do that when I fly? I have no idea. But
It just fits snugly.
what a
with the
pain in the
loosen of
butt
strap
this has
and
been, huh?
simply
Okay,
lift
whatever.
the release
We need to get
to
going.
unfasten.
It just seems like
Your
it's
seatbelt
always
should always be
something,
worn low and tied across
you know,
your lap.
whether it's FSX
Though
or
we find it
whatever. I don't
disturbing that we
know.
have
Don't
to
care.
actually
Just,
explain to you
I
how
want
to
to go
take off
fly.
and
I
put
want
on
to
a
go
seatbelt.
fly. Let's go
The
fly.
FAA has required us to
All right.
use the most
After start checklist is
that
done.
would be you.
Let's see.
Emergency
Taxi
exits
out.
are marked
That's what
with
we're on right
red
now. Do we have a
exit sign
checklist here that we
overhead.
need to cover?
We know this
Nope.
may
Everything
come
else
as a
is
shock to
before
some of
takeoff
you,
flows. So
but
let's
we
go ahead and
really
flip
do
our
put exit
taxi
signs
lights on
by
here.
the exit doors.
Bam. Have a little light to see where we're
Operation
going. That doesn't
and
really
use
show
of
us much of anything,
exits,
does it? We're not
slides,
using
and
track IR
ramps
because that's
are
acting up as
illustrated
well.
in the safety
All right, let's get this show on the road.
information.
So
And for
we're
those
going
of
to
you
take
that are
this,
choosing to
let's see,
read,
we'll take it down to
there
the
are
end here at
pictures.
Delta.
Please locate
We'll
the
hang it
two
right on
exits
Delta.
nearest you,
Come on,
keeping in
let's go.
mind that
Do I have the
closest
parking brake
exit
on?
may
I must.
actually be behind you. And remember,
All right, there we
they are
go.
the doors.
And I burned quite a bit of
Big
fuel doing
sign
this too,
above
so
them
now I'm worried that we're going to
says
run out of fuel.
exit.
I don't think so, though. I didn't really burn that much.
This aircraft is equipped with aisle path
Okay, so
lighting,
down
which
here to
is located
Delta,
on the floor
and
in the
then
aisle.
at Delta we'll hang a
Should
right and then a
cabin
left on
visibility
Alpha.
be impaired, the exit path
And
will
I know
be
I'm briefing this in here instead
This is
of,
for your
I know I normally
convenience.
brief it
And in reality,
with the
will
chart,
most
but I don't
likely
have
be
a ground
useless,
chart for this,
since
so
any visibility
you can see
problems
Delta
that you
coming
have
up
are
here on the
probably
right-hand
gonna be
side.
the result of a
That's
fire.
what we're going to
In
take.
which case, you'll probably just burn up
And then
die long
Alpha
before you
will
need
be
to
our
locate
first
the
level.
lighting
We'll
on
take
the
that all the
floor
way to the
anyway.
end
That being
to
said,
runway
all you would need
14
lighting
for
is beyond
departure.
us.
So,
There is only one
while
aisle in
I'm
this
doing
aircraft,
that,
and
for
if
your
you're able to walk
viewing entertainment
anywhere else,
and
then you are no
for
longer
the sake
inside
of
the
the
airplane,
safety of
and
this
the
flight
aisle
and
lighting
for
will
our
make
learning
little
experience.
difference.
Oh, please.
White lights
done talking.
lead to red lights.
All right, let's go ahead and take care of the departure briefing
Or
before I
near
toot my
an
horn
emergency
any
exit
longer.
location.
Here's your departure briefing
Please,
for today.
don't make us explain.
All right,
the
let's take a quick look at our
emergency exits again.
departure briefing here. We're going to be taking the
The cabin
Q400
pressure
departure
is
out of
controlled for
Arcata,
your comfort.
Eureka, California
However, should
today.
it change radically in
And we
flight,
are taking
whether
runway
from a
14
bomb,
for our
pilot
departure.
error,
It's a
or
climbing
any other
right turn.
unexpected traumatic
And then we're going to hit
event,
Hokut,
oxygen compartments
Sevely,
will automatically
Foyt,
open in
and
the
then out here to
middle of your seat.
Fortuna.
Reach up.
A couple things we got to think about real quick. Runway
This action will
14
start
has
the
trees
flow of
beginning at
oxygen. Place the
1,086
mask over
feet
both
from the
your mouth
departure end of
and
the
nose.
runway. That's what
Secure with
DER is.
elastic band, as your flight
716
attendant
feet
is
right of the
demonstrating.
center line, up to
Tighten by
100
pulling
feet
on the
above
ends of
ground
the
level,
elastic
or
bands.
286
Even
feet
though oxygen
above
is
sea
flowing,
level.
the plastic
More
band
trees
may
at
not inflate.
4,708
If you are
feet from
traveling
departure
with
end of the
children
runway,
or are seated
1,558
next to
feet
someone
left,
who
blah,
needs
blah.
assistance,
You get the
place
point,
the
right?
mask on
There's some trees
yourself
out there. However, there are
first, then
takeoff
offer
minimums.
assistance.
We must
You know
climb
how
at a
much you love your
minimum
children.
of
But
445
if you attempt to
feet
put the
per
mask
minute.
on them first, you will
I'm
likely
sorry,
pass
per
out
nautical
due to
mile
lack of
to
oxygen
900
in the
feet.
air
We're not going to have
at
any
40,000
problems whatsoever
feet.
making that.
And they are unlikely to help
And that is pretty much the gist of our
That's just
departure. It's
one
not going to be very
really
difficult
long
today. Again, we're going
sentence.
to do our climbing right turn out here.
Anyway,
And
after
on
all,
over
you
to,
do love them, but you will be
hit
unconscious.
the
And your
Hokut
children will not
intersection,
help
Sevely
you. They will just
intersection,
let you die.
hang a left to 146 degrees down to Foyt, and then on to Fortuna,
Continue
and
using
then
the
on
mask
route
until
from there.
advised
We're not
by
using
a uniformed
ATC,
crew
so
member
we're not going to be looking for them to tell us
or
anything.
unless the plane has crashed,
And
at which point
that's
it
just
doesn't matter anyway.
life without ATC. That's something
Your
we really
individual
got
life
to
vest
get on
is
that,
located
guys.
in a pouch beneath
Give me
your
your
seat.
input on that.
Should use become
I want to wrap this
necessary,
up real quick, but
remove
give me
the
your input on
plastic
that. Let me
packet,
know what you
slip
think
it
is
over
the
your
best
head and pull
ATC
downward on
program
the front
for
panel.
FSX. All
Bring
right,
the
let's get
strap
this plane in
around
here,
your
shall we?
waist and insert it into the buckle in front of you. Pull on the loose strap until the vest fits snugly, just like any other life vest you would put on. As you leave the aircraft, inflate the vest by pulling down firmly on the red tabs, but do yourself a favor and wait until you're actually outside of the aircraft. The vest may be orally inflated by blowing into the inflation tubes at shoulder level. Each vest has a rescue light on the shoulder for night use, which is water activated. By pulling the light to by removing the pull to light tab located on the battery. Though we are flying nowhere near water today, we still have to explain this to you for some reason. In preparation for takeoff, please ensure that your seat backs, tray tables are in their full upright and stored position. Even though this has absolutely nothing to do with anything, we are going to continue to demand that you meet this requirement. Ensure that your seatbelts are securely fastened, since we have now shown you how. And all of your carry-on items are securely stowed. Federal aviation regulations require customers to comply with the lighted customer information signs, other posted signs, and crew member instructions. Please observe the fasten seatbelt and other lighted signs until they have been turned off by the captain. Thank you for your attention.
All right, here we are holding
Airport
short of runway
shortly.
14. I don't know if you noticed during the departure briefing there, but as we were taxiing along, all of a sudden our taxi lights decided to show up so that we can see where we're going. This whole thing's acting kind of weird, so I wouldn't be overly surprised if we had some crashes or something like that today. And by that I mean like crash the desktop or something. But anyway, it is what it is. Let's go ahead and take care of these before takeoff flows. Remember, we got to do both sides, so it takes a little bit longer. Trims have been checked. Takeoff warning needs to be tested at this time. This thing is supposed to go into flight mode, I believe, but not until after we do the takeoff warning test, right? Yeah. Control lock needs. See, yeah, why are we testing that before control lock comes off and all that stuff? I don't really understand that. Control lock needs to come off. Park and brake needs to come off. Now let's try it. There we go. That's the way it's supposed to be. Park and brake can go back on for a minute. Control lock stays off. Oh, it says right there. See, I should read before I talk, right? It says release the control lock and test the flight controls along their full range of motion. When you do the takeoff warning test. Anyway, there's all our flight controls. We're good. Flight and taxi switch goes to flight now. There we go, it's in flight. What else? Anti-collision lights, white on strobes. We've already done that. I did that while we were taxiing. First officer's checks. Transponder and TCAS needs to be on altitude. I believe we've already done that, but we'll just double check. It is on altitude. We want it to be above. There we go. And control lock is released. Flight controls have been checked. Condition levers, check that they're in max. They are. Terrain radar display as required. We got radar on this side. That would be terrain. That's radar. We got terrain on this side. That's the way I want it. That's from the parking brake. And fuel confirm required. Fuel is on board. We're good on that. And that just leaves us with the before takeoff checklist. Flight attendant notifications are done. Takeoff briefing is complete. Condition levers are max. Trims are set. Takeoff warning has been tested. Flight controls are free and correct. Flight taxi switch is in flight. Radar terrain is as required. TCAS is on altitude. Bleeds are minimum and as required. So we'll go minimum. And what do we got? They're both off. They're good. Oh, we missed the anti-skid, didn't we? How'd I miss that? Turn the anti-skid on. Okay. I missed the anti-skid. I don't know how I missed that during my flows, but I did. External lights on before we go on the runway. Let's go over here, it's hard to see. Let's turn the landing lights on as well. And that's it, time for takeoff. Now I've already set our altitude. We don't have any altitude restrictions as you saw, so 23,000 feet, that's what we're flying to. And we do want to set runway heading once we get on the runway, so we'll do that. And as we take off, we'll initiate heading hold mode for just a minute, and then we'll jump right into LNAV and the indicated airspeed. I think I got all that. Okay, one more time. V1 and V rotator 125, V2 is 128, flap retraction at 138, and climb at 150 or above. I think we're good to go. What do you think? Yeah, I think we're good to go. So let's go ahead and pull out here on the runway, and let's get this flight in the air. All right. Come on. Okay, we got a lineup checklist we're going to do as well, and then we'll go into our takeoff roll and then our after takeoff checklist and all that good stuff. So let's go ahead. This is a short runway, so I'm going to taxi on over here and use as much of this runway as possible. Sucker swung around quick, didn't it? All right. All right, we don't want to pull up too far here. It's all right. We're good right there. All right, lineup checklist. Anti-collision lights are on white. Landing lights are on. Pitot-static isolation valve is supposed to be on, and I believe that's this one down here, right? Let's see. Pitot-static valve open. Yep, so we're good there. What else? Bleeds as required, we don't need them. Caution panel should be black. Caution panel is black, we're good there, and that means we're ready to take off. So What do you say we get to flying here, folks? Let's start pulling forward here. See how it does it? It's so weird that it does it. I wonder if it's actually supposed to. I don't know. We'll see if it does it while we're flying. Alright, let's go. It likes to pull to the left as we go out. Alright, here we go. Airspeed is clearly live. There's 80 knots right there. We're looking for 125. Coming up on 100 already. This bird's going to get in the air quick, isn't it? There's 120 and rotate. Up, up, and away. Positive rate of climb. Gear up. Come on. There it is. Gear's coming up. Ooh, she's kind of squirrely there, huh? Alright, looking pretty good so far. You know what I forgot to do was, I forgot to set the heading. So let's rotate the heading around. Come on. That way we can go right into heading mode. I'm trying to do this and make sure I'm flying the aircraft. This is where it helps to have 2 people in the aircraft, that's for sure. Alright, where's heading hold? There's heading hold mode. Indicated airspeed mode. We need to bring the flaps up at this point. Gear is already up. We can bring the nose down just a little bit. Indicated airspeed hold is at 148. We want it to be at 150, so let's just bring it on up. There we go, 200. That's good. Autopilot on. Alright. Not too shabby so far. We need to go ahead and start this right turn, so let's go ahead and turn on the nav. There it is. LNAV, making a right turn. And that's going to take us out over the ocean, which is good. That's where we want to go, so we're not worried about running into any mountains. Let me flip on some lights here so that I can see a little bit better. Dome lights coming on. Now we can see. Things are looking good so far. Props are full forward as they're supposed to be. I'm going to let that speed come up a little bit more. 200 knots. We can bring it down just a hair. We want to be at 200 is what I want to be at right now. And let's roll right into our after takeoff and / climb flow. Flaps confirmed they're at 0. They are. Condition levers to 900. It's going to be 1 click down. There's 900 right there. Let's see. Push MCL on the engine control panel. That's going to be up here. MCL. There we go. Back here so we can see what's going on. Plenty of clouds down there. Just what's the temperature right now? It's plus 16, so we're all right. We're not. As soon as we go below plus 10, we need to start turning on icing. Auto feather needs to come off at this time. There it is. Auto feather is off. M-top switch is good. Auxiliary pump switches can go off. 1 and 2. And the standby hydraulic and PTU switches can go off. 1 and 2. Bleeds on in normal. Okay, there's normal. Bleeds are off. We want them on. There we go. Pressurization panel check. We're good there. I don't see anything that looks like any issues. We got a little ding there. What was that? Any problems? I don't think so. Waypoint alert. Maybe that's what it was, the waypoint alert. Okay. Ice protection is set for the moment. We're going to keep an eye on that temperature. Actually, it dropped already, plus 5. So just for safety's sake, as we're climbing out here, let's go ahead and turn the ice on. Airframe mode will be slow. Prop ice on. Reference speeds, we don't need those yet. And windshield heat, let's warm that up. And pilot side heat on. Okay. So landing gears up, flaps are up, power is set for the moment. We're going to continue to climb this power. I'm okay with that. Auto feathers off, auxiliary standby and PTU pumps are off. And then engine temps and pressure look good. Nothing is in the red, that's important. Bleeds are on in normal. Cabin temps and pressure are good. Ice protection as required. We took care of that. And so now we are into our climb. Ladies and germs, that's our checklist. Everything's good to go. I can think of nothing else to do at the moment except perhaps some of that obligatory elevator music. So I'm going to look at putting that in here, but if I don't put it in like I did on the last one, it's because the video just gets too stinking long. And I don't know, you tell me. I mean, the videos are pretty long when they go over an hour.
Passing 10,000 feet, Captain.
Did it just freeze up, or... Nope, it's still climbing okay. Everything's looking good. I think we're ready to rock and roll. So let's go ahead and hop outside, take a look at this beautiful aircraft, see if we can put a little climb music in here and enjoy the flight. Alright, we're still a few minutes from top of descent here, but I wanted to show you real quick how to set it up so that, well, I've shown it before, but I'm going to show it again anyway. We just got onto our arrival, and we're going to brief that right after this, actually. So let's go ahead and show you how to set up top of descent here, and then I should have briefed the arrival sooner, but hey, we all make mistakes. So here we go. Here's how we set up top of descent. You need to set an altitude restriction into a waypoint. So we're using Airline as our waypoint here, and our altitude restriction is 10,000 feet. Once you put it in here you click here, click the line select key here, type in the numbers. In this case it was 10,000 feet, hit enter, and then you're good to go. Now you have the altitude restriction for that waypoint. Once you've done that, you click VNAV, and you can see I've already set it up, but I'll show you how to do it anyway. Go to the line select key next to the word 2. Click on that. Choose the waypoint you want. So in this case it's Airline, so that's number 6. Click number 6 and enter. You don't need to put anything here. 10,000 feet is going to remain the same. And then we're going to do a target vertical speed of 1,800 feet. So once I hit enter again, it tells me how far until top of descent, and it tells me how many minutes until top of descent. Once I've done that, when I get within 2 minutes of top of descent, I can hit the VNAV button, which is right here. VNAV will arm itself here, and then as soon as we get to top of descent, it will start to descend. However, I did make a mistake, and you may have caught it in the last video. You need to make sure you change your altitude when you get close to that top of descent. So we need to scroll this down to 10,000 feet. Brain just went blank there. We need to scroll this down to 10,000 feet before we get to top of descent, otherwise it will not start to descend. Alright, so that's how we set up the top of descent. Since we're already on the since we're already on to our arrival here, let's go ahead and brief the arrival. Let's get this arrival briefing out of the way. It's going to be the Moore Park 3 or Moore 3 arrival into LA today. And I know I'm starting this a little late. We're actually already on the arrival. We're supposed to brief it before we get on the arrival. But we've actually already passed Avenel, or AVE-VOR, which is just behind us there a little bit. And we're almost up to Derb. So shouldn't be too big of an issue. Yeah, we should have briefed it earlier. My apologies. It is what it is, right? So, you know, cut me a little slack. How about that? From AVE to Derb, we're going to just maintain altitude for the moment. We will be starting our descent here in a little while. Minimum safe altitude, 10,900 feet. Expect 11,000 feet in here. Same thing through here to Reyes, on down to Peru, and then to the Fillmore VOR. Expect 8,000 feet in there if we're using ATC. We know that's our minimum safe altitude. Ultimately, we're looking to get to 10,000 feet at Airline. I've already told you about that. So from the Fillmore VOR to Paula, then Airline, and then hopefully we can get down to 6,000 feet by Waker, and then we're going to be banging a left towards the Santa Monica VOR over here, and that will put us onto our approach there. Let's see, key information. I don't think there's a whole lot we need to talk about here. At Airline, we can expect 10,000 feet for jets. It doesn't say anything for prop aircraft, so we're just going to go with 10,000 feet. 230 knots or as assigned, and that's about the gist of it. There's not much else we need to worry about here. Pretty straightforward. Waker is an initial approach fix. However, that's not going to be our initial approach fix, because that would be for runways, what is it, 7 and 8 or 6 and 7. We're going to be actually coming up this way and flipping a U and coming in here on 24 right. So when we get to that point, we'll brief the approach. Alright, so we're just a couple minutes out from that top of descent point now, so let's go ahead and set it up real quick. We want to change our altitude to 10,000 feet, so we'll scroll this down. It's a little too far. There's 10,000. And then we want to go ahead and hit the VNAV button, and you can see right here, and I'll pop it up for you. You can see VNAV is in white, and what that means is it's going to, well, it's armed. That's what it means. It's armed. So it'll stay white until we reach that top descent point, and then it'll turn green, and altitude will be replaced with VNAV, and it'll start to descend automatically. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and take care of our descent checklist real quick. Altimeters, it says to set and cross-check them, but we cannot do that yet because we're above 18,000 feet. So we'll take care of that as we cross below 18,000 feet. Excuse me. Fuel balance. Let's check the fuel balance real quick. Come on over here, 375 and 395. If we want to balance those out, if we left click, it'll move it'll move fuel from the right tank to the left tank, and if we right click, it'll move it from the left tank to the right tank. So let's move a little bit over. You just click it. Okay, I want to make sure I explain this. You left click it, it'll start moving it to the left tank. As soon as they even, we got to right click it to get it back into the center. So left click, 80, 85, and that's going to be close enough. We're off by 5 kilograms. I'm fine with that. So I right clicked it right away. I didn't want to mess around with it. Really, I'm only doing that to show you how to transfer the fuel. You really only need to do it if there's a pretty large disparity between the two, which we haven't had to worry about on these last 2 flights. Alright, pressurization is set. That was this panel up here. We just set it to 0. That's what we went with for our landing altitude. So we're good on that, and that's going to be pretty close. The next setting above 0 is 124 feet, so either one is going to be pretty good for LA. What else? Fasten seat belts is on. We haven't changed that. I usually just leave it on. I don't take it off. There's no real passengers on here, so I don't worry about it. The approach briefing is not complete. We'll be doing that when we're closer to the actual approach, so I'm not worried about that yet. So let's take care of our in-range checklist real quick. It says to do it at 10,000 feet or in the terminal area, but we're going to do it right now. And you can see we're on descent. I was looking at my checklist when that happened, but we're on descent now. So what I need to do is I need to pull those throttles back, and you're going to have to pull them a lot further back than you think. This airplane flies pretty well. So I'm going to pull them back, let it slow back down just a little bit, and then I'm just watching my speed. Remember, there's no auto throttle in this aircraft, so you got to control the speed on your own. Okay, fuel transfer, we need to make sure that's off, which it is. We just did that real quick. Ground proximity warning system landing flaps needs to be selected. We're going to land at flaps 15. Let's see. Hydraulic pressure quantity needs to be checked. I'll just pop this up for you. Plenty of hydraulic pressure, and and the quantity's just fine. You can see all 3 of them are pretty close to full there, so we're good on those. Caution and warning lights checked. That's this guy right here. No caution, no warning lights. Everything is good there. External lights on. Once we go below 10,000 feet, we'll bring those on. Ice protection set. We've left it on throughout the flight, but it will come off as we descend because our temperature is high enough that we won't have to worry about icing conditions. So we're not going to need to increase our reference speeds by 20 knots for icing because we shouldn't have icing conditions when we land. But we'll reevaluate that when we get close. If we do have icing conditions, then we'll increase our landing speeds. It's easy enough. Flight attendant notifications, we're not worried about those. Now what I'm going to pop up over here real quick, I got tons of stuff down here. I'm going to show you our landing speeds card. Alright, we're going to be a little over 24,000 kilograms, so our V-approach speed 117. We're adding a little bit to that since we're a little over, so we're going to go with 120 for our V-approach, and our V-ref speed is going to be 117. We're going to stick with that. Now, if we do have icing conditions, then we'll increase those by 20 knots each. That's what the manual says to do. So there you go. That's not normally how I do that briefing, but it was easy to just throw it in right there, so that's what we did. Speed's still coming down a little, so I want to go ahead and add a little bit of power, and we'll just keep an eye on it. I don't want it to get too low. And other than that, we're good to go until we do the approach briefing. So I'm going to hop off of here for now and continue on this star for a little ways, and when we get a little closer to the approach, I'll brief it, and then we'll fly it. So I'll see you in a few minutes. Alright, let's do this approach briefing now. As I already mentioned during the arrival briefing, we're going to start our approach over here at the Santa Monica VOR. And we want to be at 5,000 feet when we're at Santa Monica VOR, taking the 068 degree radial outbound to Sappy intersection, at which point we want to be starting a descent from 5,000 to 4,000 feet while making this wide sweeping right turn around to our initial approach fix at Mercy. Get to a heading of 251 degrees, and we'll go down our profile view here for a second. At 13.7 nautical miles from the LAX VORs when we can start our descent. And we want to hit 2,200 feet at Jetsa down here, which is our final approach point, at which time we should have intercepted the localizer and the glide slope for our ILS approach. Our frequency today is 108.5. You can see that right up here, runway 24 right. And let's see what else we got here. Plenty of runway to work with, lots of lighting. Again, I don't fully understand this lighting configuration, but there's lots of lights there. Let's go with that for now. I know that the lights do mean specific things, and they are also drawn on the Lido charts specifically to show you what the lighting configuration would be to help you identify the runway at night or in instrument meteorological conditions. 46 meters wide, plenty of width for our little airplane here. 3-degree glide slope with happy lights on the left-hand side. There's a slight negative 0.1% degrees, whatever you want to call it. Very slight negative, what's the word I'm looking for here? Gradient. There we go. So basically it's slightly downhill, but we know in FSX all the runways are flat. Touchdown zone, there's no gradient there, so it's going to be flat there. Again, it's FSX, so it's at 119 feet, so we probably could have put our pressure setting at the 124, but we set it at 0, and that'll be just fine. Let's talk about missed approach procedures real quick. We've flown into these runways before. In the event of a missed approach, we're going to climb at heading 251 and make a right turn to intercept the 260-degree radial of the LAX VOR. So we're actually going to have to fly straight out on 251 for a little bit here before we can intercept that radial. And then once we've intercepted that, we'll continue on to the RAFs intersection, climbing to 2,000 feet, and then we would hold at RAFs until otherwise instructed by ATC. Of course, we're not using ATC, so we're not going to have to worry about that. Our minimum altitude today is going to be 330 feet MSL, which is 200 feet AGL, and we are going to be good to go. Any questions about the approach? I didn't think so, because you're watching a video. All right, let's do it then. Okay, we're coming up on short final now. I keep getting traffic alerts because the AI traffic doesn't care if there's other aircraft in the area. According to this, we're actually locked onto the ILS. You can see that our runway's up and off to the left there. So I'm going to take the autopilot off here in just a minute. But before I do that, I just want to go through our landing checklist real quick. Approach checklist is already done. Actually, no, we're pretty much on path. It's hard to tell. Our speed's way too high, and the traffic warnings are getting really obnoxious because I'm going really slow, but there's an aircraft like right over the top of me or something. I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and take care of our landing checklist. Landing gear is down with 3 green. Condition levers are set to max. Let me bring in some power here before we end up running out of juice. Okay, we're looking good there. Condition levers are set to max. Auxiliary standby PTU pumps are all on. That's these guys down here. Alright. So we're good there. Speed's getting just a little low. Let's bring in a little more power. It really did kind of look like we were off to the side there a bit, didn't it? That's my bad. Bleeds are as required and on minimums, which has been taken care of. We are doing a flaps 15 landing, and we're at, actually, I think I set the flaps to full, didn't I? Yeah, I did. Why did I do that? We're going to go up one. That's where we're supposed to be, right there. Okay, that's going to increase the speed a little bit, so we'll slow that down. We are flying the ILS here. My apologies, I was dealing with all these traffic alerts, and so I didn't get an opportunity to get back on here a little bit quicker. So why is that speed coming up so fast? Alright, so I'm going to let it fly the ILS here for a minute. We got tons of runway ahead of us. Everything's looking good. We do have some other aircraft ahead of us. You know, dealing with the AI traffic is just such a pain, guys. You guys know what I'm talking about. So my apologies for not getting things quite as smooth as far as the approach goes here, and you know, getting to the approach and landing checklist sooner. But yeah, see, I keep getting this traffic alert. Traffic. I don't know where this guy's at. He's behind me is where he's at, so I don't know why it keeps giving me traffic alerts. A little more speed there. Boy, this thing just seems so sluggish at this speed. I'm surprised that this is the landing speed. I really am. It just seems sluggish. You see how it kind of moves around, kind of slow. I don't know. Anyway, let's go ahead and take the autopilot off here. I am sick and tired of hearing that guy. Let me tell you. Alright. Looking pretty good here. Speed's just a skosh high. Whoa, come on now. Boy, tiny adjustments can make a big difference sometimes, can't they? Alright, we got just a tiny crosswind off the right. Looks like it pushed us that way just a little, not much. Speed's pretty good. Like I said, it's just a tiny bit high, but it's not too bad. And overall, we're looking pretty good here. So let's see if we can put this down relatively smooth and not stall it or anything, huh?
500.
Alright, looking pretty good. So all the tips say worry more about the throttles. Use the power that's available to you to control the descent.
100.
There's that little weird stutter thing. Use that to control the descent rather than the trim so much. So that's what I'm doing.
Minimums.
Pretty
Minimums.
good. Little power. Bring it back out. There we go. Looking good. Just playing with the power a little bit.
100.
All right. Let's do this.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
Woo! Why does it keep giving me that alarm? That was actually pretty good. It looked a little bumpy, but it was actually a pretty good landing, so bring it all the way down to 60 knots. And let's take a look at our taxi brief real quick. Alright, as we're rolling out here, we're going to try and hit the high-speed exit at Zulu. If we can't make that, then we'll take the Alpha high-speed exit. And cross over 24 left here, hang a left on Echo, all the way down here to Sierra, and Sierra all the way across to, this looks like Charlie, and then Charlie down here to Terminal 6, and that's where we're going to be parking. Don't worry, you're not going to have to sit here for the entire taxi, because, boy, it's going to take a few minutes, isn't it? Alright, let's get this bird parked. Alright, so as usual, I'm going to go ahead and taxi this thing in for you. And once we get to a good parking space, I'll hop back on here and we'll take care of the shutdown checklist and wrap this flight up. See you here in a couple minutes. I almost forgot our after landing checklist. We're supposed to be moving here, but it's taking forever to start moving again. Alright, so let's go ahead and take care of our after landing checklist real quick while we taxi in, and then I'll finish the taxi because it's going to be pretty long anyway. So, radar off, we've taken care of that. You just go down here to this guy and flip it all the way to the off position, and there you go. Try to make sure we don't run off the taxiway here. Transponder as required. Transponder stays in standby mode, including the TCAS, which has already been done. Flaps are at 0 all the way up. Good to go on that. Let's not get going too quick here, huh? Just a little bit of beta range there. Control lock needs to come on. I haven't done that yet, so let's go ahead and put the control lock on. Good there. Auxiliary pumps off. That's these guys here. Yaw damper off. Yaw damper is off. It's up here. Flight and taxi needs to go into taxi mode right there. Good on that. Lights as required. We've got all the lights on right now, which they should be, except for the landing lights, and those are off. So we're good on that. Let's see what else. Main bus tie needs to be tied. That's this guy all the way up here, and it is done. Still trying to make sure I don't run off the taxiway here. Ice protection as required. The only thing that's on now is the pitot heat. APU as required. We're not going to be using the APU because once we get in here, we're just going to shut her down. So that's it for the after landing checklist. So I'm going to go ahead and finish taxiing on in here, and we'll see you guys in just a minute for the shutdown. Alright, here we are in our parking space, ladies and germs. Let's go ahead and take care of this shutdown and post-flight checklist real quick. Let's see here. External lights need to go off. Probably could have done that as I pulled up. Off, off. This needs to go to red. Off. And logo lights will stay on for now. Let's see. Parking brake is already set. Seatbelt sign and no smoking signs can come off. Nose steering needs to go off. Let's hop on over here. Nose steering is off. Standby PTU pumps need to come off. These two right here. So this is standby hydraulic pressure and PTU pumps. Power levers in disconnect or disc, whatever that's supposed to mean. They are. External power APU is on. We're not going to be using that. Condition levers to fuel off. That's these guys. All the way down. Fuel off. Transponder's already on standby. Bleeds to minimum and off is already done. Emergency lights can go off. Let's hop up to the overhead here. Yes, we know. Emergency lights off. We're good there. Ice protection all off, which includes the pitot heat. There we go. Pitot heat is off. Standby, auxiliary main, and battery master as required. And since we don't need these anymore, we'll turn them off. And remember now, if you watch my cold and dark tutorial, when you start them up, you got to turn them on from right to left. Battery master, main, auxiliary, and then standby. And when you turn them off, you got to go the opposite direction. So it goes standby, auxiliary, main, and master. That's the order you got to turn them off in. Other than that, there's nothing left to do except hop outside the aircraft. Can't really see much here because it is wicked dark outside. But there we are, all parked up, KLAX. This was a good flight. I enjoyed this one. I enjoy all of them. I think it's a good time. I have a lot of fun doing these, and I'm really, really liking this airplane, man. I got to tell you, I really enjoy flying this aircraft. So I hope that you guys have enjoyed the flights with me. And, of course, as always, if you do enjoy them, please give us a thumbs up, leave something in the comments, and if you haven't taken the opportunity already, subscribe to my channel. We are up to close to like 350 now, so moving on up. And remember, 500 subscribers is our next goal, and I'd like to do something special for meeting that goal of 500 subscribers. So if you have some ideas, put something down in the comments, and I'll weigh everybody's choices, and we'll come up with something, or maybe we'll put it to a vote. We'll see what happens. But other than that, that concludes this flight. We do need to shut down ACARS. I almost always forget to do that now, don't I? ACARS, we were scheduled for 2:05. Took us 2:22, about the same amount of time as last time. Good smooth landing on that one, and that's it. So, actually, it looks like the landing rate was a positive landing rate. Not really sure how that works. It's supposed to be a negative. I think if it's a positive, that causes an issue. Hopefully they won't deny our pirate, but if they do, I'll just fly the flight again offline and take care of it. But I think we'll probably be good to go. So, yes, I want to exit. Let's hop on over to the website real quick. We'll see if the thing gets approved automatically or if we got to wait on somebody, and we'll wrap up this episode of The Life of a Virtual Airline Pilot. All right, here we are back on the website, ladies and germs. You can still see that we still have 56 hours to go. I'm sure that this PIREP hasn't been approved yet. Nope, approval pending. Not sure if that has something to do with the landing vertical speed being a positive landing rate. I know that that has been an issue occasionally with ACARS and the Majestic Dash 8. So it may be an issue. I don't know. We'll find out. If it needs to be manually approved, they'll either approve it or they'll tell me I need to fly it again. In which case, I'll fly it again, and then we'll just go on from there. Now, there may be a couple of you screaming already going, oh, that doesn't make sense. How can they deny that pilot report? Well, let's think about it for a minute. It is physically impossible to actually have a positive landing rate. Actually, no, that's not correct, is it? Because if you have a runway that actually slopes upward, then in reality, you would have a positive landing rate, right? Because you'd be slightly climbing as you landed. Okay, I get that. But this is FSX, and every runway in FSX is flat. There is no slope to it. So if there's no slope to it, guess what that means? It's impossible to have a positive landing rate in FSX. So we'll see how it goes, but that wraps it up. I didn't think to record the landing with FS Recorder so that I could show an external view, so you didn't get to see that. My apologies. It's not something I really think about, but if it's something you're interested in seeing, again, please leave it down in the comments, and I will try to address it. Other than that, that's it. That's all, no more. As always, keep the blue side up, unless crossing the Pacific, at which time you are on your own. Have a great day, folks.